Just a bar spoon of my beloved grenadine. Like, I get such a visceral reaction from it. Well, hello there and welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Ciara. My name is Ciara and I'm a whiskey-loving Irish gal who's on a cocktail voyage of discovery. If you are new here, I have zero professional bar experience other than a passion for making mixed drinks at home and showing you how I do it. So hit that subscribe button, stick around, and we both just might learn something, because if I can do it, you can do it. So in today's video, I'm going to be making a cocktail that was requested by one of my lovely patrons, the lovely Kat Morgan. So today we are going to be making a Harvard. So the Harvard cocktail is known as somewhat of a riff on the classic Manhattan cocktail. It is definitely not as popular or as well known as the Manhattan, but it does sound really, really nice. And I have to say, I have never tried it or made it before, so it is another cocktail first for me. So before we get into the history of the Harvard cocktail and I show you how I make it at home for the first time, I would like to take a second to tell you about my Patreon. Not only is it a great way of supporting my channel, but you can also have access to exclusive content. You can get exclusive discounts on my newly launched merch. You can also join in on my monthly live stream with my Patreon community, and you can see the footage that is just too tipsy for YouTube. So without rambling on too much, let's get into the history of a Harvard cocktail. So as I mentioned, the Harvard is known as a variation or a riff on the classic Manhattan cocktail. And of course, it is named after the prestigious Ivy League college of the same name. The Harvard cocktail dates all the way back to the late 1800s. It was actually first published in 1895 by George Kepler in the Modern American Drinks. Now, the Harvard cocktail definitely was drank by the Harvard students themselves, but it also was quite popular at the time. So the earlier variations of the Harvard cocktail are somewhat sweeter, and it seems like the more modern adaptations are a little bit heavier on the alcohol and are not quite as sweet. So with that being said, let's get into the ingredients for a Harvard cocktail. So I previously mentioned that the Harvard cocktail is somewhat of a riff or a variation on the Manhattan cocktail, which is somewhat of a classic. I've made it previously on the channel before and I really enjoyed it. I will link that video in the description below if you want to check it out. But while the Manhattan cocktail uses a rye whiskey, the main difference is that our Harvard uses a cognac or a brandy. So of course, our first ingredient is going to be some cognac. I actually have the remnants of a bottle of Hennessy here, so we will probably finish that off. So typically in this cocktail, you would also use some Italian red vermouth. Now I actually have the end of my Doulin vermouth here. This is a French one. And I also have a fresh bottle of red vermouth here, so we'll see how much we need. I think I might have to use this one instead. Now in this drink, we are also going to be using a few dashes of Angostura bitters, and as per the recipe that my lovely patron Kat Morgan mentioned, she said that some of the variations on this recipe use Demerara syrup, but she recommends using grenadine, which, if you've seen this channel before, I'm not a big fan of grenadine. It is so sickly sweet, and I only like using it in very, very small amounts, but it really does make a difference to a cocktail. So I actually think I have some grenadine stashed away in the cupboard here. Here's my grenadine. I've used very little of it, so I will use about a teaspoon or a bar spoon of this to keep Kat happy. And then another interesting riff on this recipe is that it calls for some soda water to use at the end as a top up, but some recipes don't use it as well. I think the original recipe doesn't use it, so it's up to you if you want to top it up or not. Obviously it will make the drink lighter, more of a spritzy kind of vibe. I have some Schweppes soda water here, so I think I will just go ahead and use a little bit of it and see how we get on. So now that we've got all of our ingredients for a Harvard, let's get into actually making the cocktail. So first things first, we're just going to go ahead and add a nice big chunk of ice into our mixing glass. And then we're going to start with about 60 mils of our brandy. Literally spot on 60. Very good. Straight in. Need to buy more brandy. Let me know if there's any particular ones you'd like to see me use on the channel. Then we are going to go in with 30 mils of our red vermouth. Let's see if we can get 30 mils out of our Doulin. Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah, that's definitely 30. So 30 mils in on top. Then we are going to go ahead and do 3 dashes of Angostura. And then we are going to do just a bar spoon of my beloved grenadine. It's so sweet. Like I get such a visceral reaction from it. Let me try this. It literally tastes like Calpol to me, like cough syrup. Like the difference between the flavor sweetness, like the sweetness kind of taste of grenadine, and then the sweetness taste of a maraschino cherry. It is like night and day how they taste. Anyway, let's go in with a little bar spoon. Okay, that was a bit more generous than I would like, but that's fine. It's always hard to do just a bar spoon. So those are all our ingredients for stirring. So let's just go ahead, stir it for about 30 seconds. We want to chill this down nicely. In the meantime, my coupe glass is chilling nicely. I've got some ice cubes in there. So when we're finished stirring this, we can chuck that and then strain it in. See how we get on and how much space we have. Oh, that's gorgeous. So we have a little bit of room. So I'm going to go ahead and top it up with just a little bit of soda water. Add just a little bit of fizz, not too much. For our garnish, I believe it is a piece of orange peel. I actually don't have any oranges. I usually do. So I'm gonna do a piece of lemon peel instead. Because the lemon is not the traditional garnish, I'm not going to express any oils because I don't want the lemon like flavor or aromatics going into the drink. I feel like this peel is too thick. Why do I always struggle with the goddamn garnish? It's always a struggle for me. So I feel like I've bent that quite nicely. Let's just see. Okay, well, it's resting, that's fine. So our Harvard cocktail is officially done. I have to say it was very quick to make. It's got a beautiful, simple color. That gorgeous deep red burgundy looks very, very similar to its dear cousin, the Manhattan. I'm very curious to see what this actually tastes like. So if you will join me over on my cocktail drinking chair, let's try a Harvard cocktail and see how she tastes. So we are back in the cocktail drinking chair. I have my Harvard cocktail ready to go. The garnish has already fallen in. I think we're just gonna have to give up on the old garnish. It's floating around inside. Hopefully it's not gonna add too much flavor, but I'm very curious to try a Harvard for the first time and to see if I like it. So, cheers. I mean, I'm a bit underwhelmed. It's a bit blah, you know, maybe it's the soda water. I'm not really getting anything from it. It's not great. I mean, I have to say I don't hate it, but to be fair, there's very few alcoholic drinks out there that I do hate, but it's just not giving me very much. Maybe it's because the whiskey has been substituted for brandy, and to be fair, I do enjoy brandy, but not at all as much as I enjoy whiskey. So I think if you offered me this as opposed to a Manhattan, I'd be a bit sad that there was no rye in it. Like, I love the kick and the spice and that gorgeous taste that rye gives either on its own or to cocktails. So yeah, I don't know, I think I'm a bit underwhelmed. Potentially I could have messed up my ingredients a little bit. I mean, I did the correct amount of brandy. Maybe my red vermouth was off. Maybe I should have used something else. My soda water, maybe I should leave that out, because to be fair, I do enjoy like a spirit forward, more kind of potent cocktail. So maybe this is just tasting a little bit too bland and not strong enough for me. I probably would enjoy it a lot more if it packed a bit more of a punch. Yeah, I mean, this came highly recommended. Kat absolutely loved it. So maybe I'm just making it wrong. That's true. There is a very good chance that I could just be making it wrong. It's definitely happened before in this channel, so yeah. So it is at this point in the video that I get to sit back, enjoy my cocktail, and answer some questions from my Patreon community. So I have a question here from Brizzle, and Brizzle asks, "Hi Ciara, are there any comestibles, or libations that viscerally bother your palate?" Comestibles is a very interesting word use. This whole question reminds me of, what's the word, equivocating, which is to use additionally or needlessly complicated words in a superfluous manner to appear well spoken. Anyway, back to the question. Are there any comestibles or libations that viscerally bother your palate? So essentially what Brizzle is asking is, are there any food or drink concoctions that I don't like and that bother my palate? And to be perfectly honest with you, Brizzle, I've said this before, I've never really met a food that I didn't enjoy. There are certainly things, mayhaps things on the Try channel that they get us to try that I haven't really enjoyed, but there are things that I wouldn't really encounter in day-to-day life anyway. anyway. Like in normal day-to-day life, I enjoy everything. You could take me to any restaurant, you could order for me and I will probably enjoy myself. I mean, look, there's always things on menus that I prefer and I have preferences, but I'm a very, very, very easy eater. I'm the least picky person you'll ever meet, and that also counts for alcohol as well. Some people like to say that I don't have taste buds, which doesn't offend me. Like, I get it. I get why you're saying that, but like I do. I really enjoy strong tastes, and you know, in the opposite end of that, if something is really, really sweet, I don't typically enjoy it. I feel like most people's taste buds are geared towards sweet things, whereas mine is very much geared towards savory. I do enjoy sweet things, but they have to be a certain type of sweet. So to answer your question, no, there's really not much that bothers my palate. If something is too sickly sweet, I won't really like it, but I can still eat it. Do you know what I mean? Eat it or drink it. So Brizzle, that's the answer to your question. So given that I am somewhat underwhelmed with my Harvard experience, I would love to know how you make yours. If you're a fan of this cocktail, particularly Kat, who is watching this, let me know if there's a way that I can improve this. Maybe if I eliminate the soda water, maybe it was the grenadine. Maybe I shouldn't have used it. Should have gone with my gut, left it in the cupboard. Let me know if there's a way that I can make a Harvard so I will enjoy it a little bit better. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more easy cocktails that you can make at home, I will link a playlist up here. And if you have not already, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every single week and I would love to have you back for more. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you on my next one. Cheers!